Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Melissa and this is Melissa Knits for Fun. Well, again today, no finished objects, but let me tell you, I've got a bunch of whips that I've been working on. I've got some updates on my test knits, which I have 3 of them going on. I have resisted adding anything to that list, and I have updates on some gift knits, as well as a little picture of the little Lillia Grace who got the blanket and the dress, and her mom sent me a picture of her wearing the little dress, which, oh my gosh, she is so long. She had to wear leggings with it because it wasn't long enough to wear as a dress. I feel very bad about that. But she had her laying on the blanket as well, and they are just so incredibly knit worthy. So I'll do that towards the end. I'll put a little picture up of them, or of her. It's not them, it's her. All right, so let's kick this thing off and get started, and I'm going to start out with what I'm wearing. This is one of my Tolsta tees last year. I did make 4 Tolsta tees last summer. I am in love with this pattern. I just cannot say enough good things about it, and all 4 were different. They were different. I did the first one was a striped one, then I did this one. This one has bust darts. I did an orange one without bust darts, and then I did another one that was finger and weight. If you're really interested in learning about all 4 of them, there is a video, I believe it's episode 12, that's called It's All About the Tolstas, and I talk about all 4 of them in there. This one in particular was made out of Sandusgarn Lena in the colorway, I think this is Burgundy is the colorway name, but it, as you can see, it's this really beautiful deep dark wine color, and I did do it with bust darts. You can kind of see them right there. It makes it really easy to know which side is the front because all I got to do is look for the bust darts. I love this. I really appreciate how it fits, because while, and I'm going to stand up a little bit here and talk about, while it fits and it shows I have curves, you can see it's not so tight right here that I feel like that you can see all of my rolls. And I do have some kind of little snag there that I need to fix, but I love this. And when I take it out of the washer and dryer, because I just wash this yarn is cotton, linen, viscose. I just wash it in the washing machine and dry it in the dryer. And when I pull it out, it is a little bit tighter than it appears right now, but I put it on within, 30 minutes to an hour of wearing it. It is all good, and it's, really, it fits like it does right now. And these are my favorite tops. I love this yarn. It's great for summer. I don't get too hot in them. And this the Tolsta tee just fits so well. I like the fact that the neckline is a little bit out. It's not so close, right? In the summer, I don't want something way up here. In the winter when I'm cold, I want something around my neck. But in the summer, I really, as much skin as we can expose to get the air conditioner on or the fan on, the better. All right, so that is my Tolsta tee. Like I said, if you want more in depth, go and watch that video. And guys, this was my first, this was kind of my gateway drug into Rebecca Clowes designs, and oh, I love this. I did test knit for her one thing before I started making the Tolstas, but I bought this a long time ago. I bought this pattern so long ago and finally got around to making it last summer. So after that, I have a bunch of whips. I have nothing that's finished, but I do have a bunch of whips. And again, yes, I have 3, count them, 3 test knits, because I can't lay off the test knits. So I'm just not even going to try anymore. But I am being a little bit pickier about like who I test knit for or what I test knit. My time is valuable, and I do have other things that I want to knit on. So having said that, I've got 3. I'm going to go in the order that they are due. The first one due, and I was actually going to leave this till last because there was a little bit of drama with this last night, but I'll go ahead and talk about it. The first one that is due is the Ewa by Moonstruck Knits, or Natasha Hornsby. This will probably be the last time that you see it on the channel until it gets released, because she has asked us not to show the finished object on social media. And I'm telling you, by next week, I imagine that I'm going to have it split And let me turn this a little bit differently so you can actually see the lace panel there where things are building up. But I imagine that I will have this split for the shoulders, and I might even have the shoulders done. And then she has a version that's sleeveless. I'm not making that version. I'm going to make a short sleeved. But if she has a version that's sleeveless, I'm not going to show it even sleeveless on here. I'm going to respect her wishes. So it's not a secret test knit, but she has asked that we not show the finished object on social media. I'm trying to get this where you can actually see the lace. It's a really pretty pattern. And it's just working up beautifully in this yarn. This is the drop spell, and it is in red. And you can see it's just a lace panel that's about 53 stitches wide, and then there's this whole eyelet section, and you keep it going. It's a really easy pattern to do. The only thing that I've had to really watch is she recommends that you not put an eyelet like closer than 3 stitches to the lace panel. So on some of them I may have 5 there instead of having the pattern, because the pattern, it's a 6-stitch repeat and then it's 12 rows. And what I'm finding is if I'm doing one, because there's different entryways into it. One of them is like you knit one and then you immediately do a knit 2 together, and then the other one you do like knit 4 or 5 or whatever it is. But I found whichever one I start with over here at the beginning of the round, when I get to the other side of the lace panel, the stitch marker to the lace panel, which is here, I start with the other one. Anyway, it's not hard at all. It's been great. Now, there has been a little bit of drama. So I got this, I'm up to about row 18 or 19 now, and I'm adding in, you can see I've started doing some of the points down here. This whole thing is going to be, there's 3 or 4 different areas that you're going to have this little kind of flower looking thing. Well, on this one, when you get to row 13, up until then, every time you do a yarn over, you're immediately before or after doing a decrease. So I've been working on cables, and with cables, you do look at the row below to make some decisions, like if I'm doing a moss stitch or a seed stitch, what was the row below that, what was that stitch, so that you know what to do. And you also write your physically moving stitches over. Well, with lace it's a lot the same too, because you take, and so what I was doing is I'm physically moving this stitch out of the way, and then that new column stitch is a yarn over. So I'm putting 2 over here. So let's say that it's column 14 and 15. 15 is going to be the yarn over. Well, you would take 14 and 15 and do your decrease, because that moves the stitch from column 15 out of the way, and now column 15 becomes that yarn over. Well, guys, it has been a hot minute since I've done lace, and I had forgotten about this part. Sometimes you don't need to be worried about what's going on in the row below as far as what it looks like, because what they're showing you is how the finished object's going to look. Well, I got to row 13, and it was the first time where there's a yarn over and then there's multiple stitches before there's a decrease. And that's fine, right? That decrease can be anywhere. It doesn't need to be right next to it. But how it was set up, it shows that you're replacing your knit stitch with the yarn over, and then everything's shifting over. And so when I did this knit stitch, it should have, according to the chart, if I was looking at it and reading it like that, where I'm looking at the row below, it would have gone into a purl stitch. But what was actually on my needle was a knit stitch. I was so hyper focused on this. Oh my gosh. If I had just done what I tell everybody else to do, which is trust the process, just keep going, it will work out. But no, what do I do with this stitch? There's this knit stitch. It's not supposed to be there. It says to go into a purl stitch. There's no way for me to go. I mean, total meltdown. I know the people in the group sensed that I was frustrated, because I was like, this is just not flat, just as flat out not working out for me. And I asked in another lace group, right? I asked my friends. I was trying to figure this out. let me tell you, bad words were flying all over the house. Poor Shauna last night over here watching TV with me. And I mean, I rival a sailor. Let me tell you, I can give a sailor a run for his money whenever I get super stressed. And I was super stressed. She was threatening to take the project home with her so that I would not be working on it anymore. Somebody in the lace group was just like, don't even look at that. Don't worry about what that said. Just keep going, because this chart is just to show you what it's going to look like. It's not a literal, like, you should knit into a purl stitch. Oh. It's all starting to come back to me now, right? Like I said, it's been a hot minute since I've done some lace. I used to do lace shawls all the time. And then somebody confirmed that this morning. I had gone through the group and tried to find if anybody else had had a problem, but I was searching specifically for this particular row. Somebody else had had the problem on a different row, row 23, and the response was, don't worry about it. It's not going to look right. It's not going to look like maybe what you think a chart should look like as far as what you're knitting into. Don't worry about that they line up instead of shifting. It'll all work out in the end. And Bridget sent me a message that was like, hey, here's that. I think you're running into the same problem, and here's my response. I hope this helps. I was like, yes, that's exactly it. I just kind of skipped over it because it was a different row and I was looking for row 13. Having said all of that, I have gotten several more rows done. I actually did put in a lifeline, which I took out later, but I have done several more rows. It's starting to really come together. I'm really, really excited. I had also been worried because I was putting this on try-on cords and I was stretching it out to the max. And so I'm putting it on and I'm like, this is going to be way too big. It's going to be, but then I got to thinking, you know what? When we try it on top down and I stretch it out, there's like all this gaping stuff back here that happens in the back. I mean, there's, you know, I look like I've got a little peplum or something back there. But I don't pay any attention to that because I know that that's not how it's going to be. And I wasn't accounting for that. So I started trying this on with it more like this. It is going to fit beautifully. So I'm really excited about that. But like I said, this is probably the last time until it gets released, and it's not getting released until the 1st of March. So I will talk about it, but I won't show it again most likely. Now, if I haven't gotten it to the point where I feel like it would be kind of the finished object next week, I'll show it. But I'm going to try to really focus on getting it at least split and attached. I'm really hoping I get the body done by this week. It's just, it's going like gangbusters. So I'm really excited about this. This is, again, the Ewa by Moonstruck Knits, and it's knitted out of Drop Spell in the colorway red. Whew! It is so exciting. And then I have another one that I'm getting, pretty close. Now, I am a little bit worried that I'm not going to have enough yarn because this right here is the end of my second ball of yarn. And I still have, you can see this is a big old crop because let me tell you, I put it on, tried it on last night and I'm like, it doesn't even cover the girls really. So I got a way to go, and I've got one more ball of yarn. But the good news is Letha has a couple of skeins of this, and if she winds up selling them, then I'll just order from Wool & Company. I did find that they have it as well. But yeah, this is the Noro Sonata, and this is the Waffle Tee by the Knit Purl Girl. I love test knitting for her. She is so laid back, and we actually had some back and forth because I got confused, not with this pattern, it was actually with the other one. So you know what? I'll talk about it with the other one. I have two going on by her. But this one I've had no problems with. I've not had to point anything out. Everything was really straightforward. The only problem I had was definitely a me problem because I completely missed one whole part of the chart. Like, it was just not there to me. And so I had to rip out 42 rows and start again. But I'm back, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait to get this on my body. This is going to be such a delight to wear, and it is the Noro Sonata, which is a, it's a cotton silk and nylon blend, I think. I know it's got cotton and silk. I think it might have a little bit of polyamide. And this is the colorway Magenta, which describes it perfectly. And it is a bit of a tonal yarn, so you can kind of see where there's been a little bit of pooling. I honestly don't care. I think it looks fantastic, and I'm just going to keep on knitting. I've got one more ball. I doubt very seriously that ball is going to get me the whole body plus the sleeves. we'll see. I have a little bit from those 42 rows. There was a spot in the middle where there had been a knot and I had pulled it out, and so I had a join there. So I've got just a little bit, probably say 20 rows maybe of yarn. Maybe it'll be enough. I'm not going to pull out my swatches because they're little. They wouldn't make a difference. So if I need to buy more yarn, I'll just buy more yarn. I pulled it from my stash. If I don't have enough, I'm not going to say, oh, well, I got to start all over. No, I'm just going to buy a little bit of yarn for it. All right, and that's the Waffle Tee by Knit Purl Girl. Making great progress. So next week, who knows? I doubt very seriously I'll have the body done of both of those, but I may be really close. And then my last test knit. Nope. Wrong bag. My last test knit is also by the Knit Purl Girl, and it is the Cove Raglan, and you can see it is joined in the round, and I'm just working away at the raglan, and it is in this beautiful colorway. I'm using Rowan felted tweed, and see, I told you you'd be able to see it more once it started growing. I told y'all last week. Let me get this all like situated where I can actually hold it up and y'all can see things, but I told you you'd be able to see the tweedy bits more, and you can definitely see the tweedy bits more. I see more blue than is showing up on the camera, but you can definitely see that it's a tweed, and I am holding the felted tweed with the Rowan mohair. Oh, I found my not safe for the camera stitch markers, but I've just got a little bit of tweed left, and then holding it with this. Once I get done with this ball of tweed, I will clip the mohair, and then I'm going to do the collar because I just think it looks better with the collar, and it makes it more structured to me, and I can start to see the shape more. I'm hoping that by next week I'll have it split for sleeves. I have gotten to the point where I have to do something different. That's where the little confusion came from. There's different instructions. I am knitting a size G, I think it is. It's whatever the size 7 is. That's the one that I'm knitting. And so there are different instructions, like size A, you have to go do this thing. Size B, you can split for sleeves. Then sizes C through F, I think it is, you go to this section. And then G through L, you go to this other section. Well, if I had read the entire pattern, and I am really guilty of not doing that whenever I know C through F doesn't apply to me. So I didn't read down at the bottom where it said that D through F were supposed to go to the next section, which was the part that G through L is going to do. So whenever it said D through L, I put a little note that said, hey, this should say G through L. We were both confused. Finally, all the confusion was figured out. There's going to be a few other little like instructions about, you know, this one goes here and then it'll move on and etc. Just to make it a little clearer. It wasn't anything to do with the pattern. I thought it was just a typo and was pointing it out. If I'd realized it wasn't a typo, I wouldn't have said anything. No confusion. Having a little roughness with my confusion with test knits, but it's just a raglan, guys. It is a very basic raglan. I have gotten to the point where I'm gonna do some like only on the body, and then the body and the sleeve, and some different things like that to make it more of a compound raglan. And so I'm really excited about that because, like I said, by next week, and I need to get longer cables because this drives me insane. I know Alicia with Lovely Day Knits, if you're watching, you're probably laughing because she says, I will just shove everything. I'll do the smallest cord possible. I won't. Small cord, they drive me insane. I want to see the work spread out. I need to be able to see my work. So I put it to longer cables as soon as I can. This one is getting ready to move. I think it's either a 14 or a 22 cable, which if y'all use ChowGoose, you know that that's the equivalent once you add, yeah, it's 22. I'm ready to go to a 30. When you add the tips, it becomes like a 30 fixed needle, etc. But I'm just knitting along on this. Not a whole lot to say about it other than it's absolutely beautiful. The felted tweed color is bilberry, and the mohair is blackcurrant. and it is just, it's beautiful. It's stunning together. I love the colors separate, but this one would be a little bit muted for me. And so just adding that, you can see how it picks up the best of both. It just made that purple a little darker. I am loving this. And it is making a luscious, luscious soft fabric. I won't be able to wear it until the fall, but when I get it done, I will put it on my body. Even if I have to sit here with like ice packs so that y'all can see it. All right. Now, moving on, I'm going to move on to my last summer net that I'm working on, because I did pull this out of hibernation. This is the Soul Mosaic Tee by Claudia Quintanilla, or Unit Toronto, I think is her, or maybe it's just Unit. Anyway, it's Claudia Quintanilla. She is, she owns Unit and Craft out of Toronto. She owns a yarn shop, and last year when we went to the Fruity Knitting, their first ever retreat, it was in Costa Rica, and Claudia was there and had her memory lane book, and then this was the pattern that was given to us as the retreat pattern. And it needs a, it's going to look better whenever it's blocked, but I really love this. It is a mosaic design, and so you're only working with one color at a time. It is color work, but it's not stranded color work. You're just slipping stitches, and it's making this beautiful pattern. I did get done with all of the color work for this, and now I'm just knitting, as you can see, this cream color. It actually doesn't look as tannish as it does whenever I'm sitting in my living room, because I was sitting in there. This is cream. They don't actually have white and cotton merino, and this yarn is knitting for all of cotton merino in cream and navy blue. And they don't actually have a white in cotton merino, so this is about as white as you're going to get. They do have an undyed. I'm not sure if that's whiter, but this is cream. And when I was knitting in there, it really looked tan, and I was like, I'm not sure I'm going to like that, but I think it looks fine. And the navy blue is what's going to be right next to my skin. So I love this. I might wind up having to do another one and do like a navy, and they have a really pretty like silvery gray color that I might have to do another one in. Now, Claudia did, this was supposed to be black and white. They don't have black in the cotton merino, so she gave us black mohair. Well, honey, let me tell you, mohair ain't going anywhere near my body. I don't care that it's just this little bit. It ain't going anywhere near my body in the dead of summer. I wanted something that I could wear all summer, so I bought a ball of navy blue cotton merino, and one ball will be plenty because the color work's only at the top. I've got just a little bit left. I'm knitting back and forth right now. This is a drop shoulder. I've got just a little bit more, a few more rows of this solid before I get to the length where I will then pick up my shoulders. So maybe by next week I will have some shoulders picked up. We shall see. I'm just working on this a little bit at a time. I do want to get it done because I want to wear it this summer, but I've got test knits also that I need to do. So there's that. Now I'm going to turn and I'm going to talk about, I've got a couple of gift knits and then my Bookclub Raglan. But the gift knits, I have been working on it. I've got, I think I did the calculations, and on this I need about 34, 35 rows to make it 17 centimeters based on my gauge. And I have just done row 30. So I only have about somewhere between 4 and 6 more rows to do before I would then pick up for the front and then would join in the round after that. This is for my friend Shauna, and it's the Saharan V-neck by Coco Amore or Cheryl Makatari. And it is just beautiful. It's knitting up really nice. I mean, you can't tell a lot about it because it is just a little bit of the back. But I'm knitting this out of the Holstgarn Coast Fauna and Holstgarn Titicaca Mellow. And the Fauna, the Coast, is 45% cotton, 55% wool. So it's going to be nice and light, but it will still be warm. And we're going to wear these whenever we go on our Scandinavian trip, when we go to Sweden and Norway and Finland, and I thought there was one other country we were going to put in there. Denmark, I think. So we're going to go and do a little tour. And so we'll wear these. And this is the 100% lace weight alpaca. So it'll be nice and warm, but it'll still be nice and light. So I'm knitting that up. I will make myself a one as well. I haven't decided on a color. I've got options of blue, red, or green that I have the same combo. So we will see. I might do like a really pretty, and I'll show you. I'm going to get to that. I didn't acquire this yarn this week, but I did some swatching. So I might use that one with the Titicaca, or I might do like the Blue Jay or the Red Carmine. I haven't decided yet which one I will do. But that is where I'm at on that. Gift knit for my friend Shauna for Christmas. And then my brother's gift knit. And I've made quite a bit of progress on this. I love cables. I love cables. I love cables. And this yarn, this is the ecological wool. I'm going to have to pull down some that I've got going for the Eco Plus, which is color where they dyed it. These are natural, I believe. And I may have to knit myself something out of this color. I really do like this color. It's called ebony, but it's not black, but as you can see, it's a really pretty deep, rich brown. And aren't the cables just, aren't they popping just beautifully in this yarn? The pattern is Scottish Ale by Wise Owl Knits. My brother picked it out. I sent him a link to my Ravelry favorites, and I have a favorites that's called Men's, and I told him to go look at that. And thanks to one of the viewers on here who was like, why don't you just give him your password and that way he can log in, he was able to get on there and view it. All right, I think that just looks funky to me because it's, yeah, it does, because it's the start of the horseshoe cable right there. But he went in and he gave me several of them, because all of these are ones that I wanted to knit. So he gave me several, and they were all cabled. And he said, I'd like any of these. And I asked him what color. He said dark brown. And when I went and looked at Scottish Ale, one of the yarns, whenever I went into Yarn Ideas, was ecological wool. And I knew I loved that. And when I clicked on that, the very first one was done in this color. And it was a guy about my brother's size, so I could tell what it was going to look like. Oh, it's just beautiful. And I am doing this actually on a fixed cable. I'm using some of my old Hayas. I had forgotten how much I love Hayas. They have such a sharp point. And so I just grabbed one of these, and I mean, it's from the bottom up in pieces. I don't need interchangeable needles. I'm not changing cable lengths. So I'm just doing it on a fixed cable, and I'm very, very excited about how this is turning out. This is the Cascade Ecological Wool in the colorway Ebony. So, not going to have this done anytime soon, but I'm giving myself plenty of time because it's a Christmas gift. All right. And I do have a couple of other Christmas gifts that I'll be working on, but right now I just don't have the yarn for it. One of them will be my son's, and it's the moose sweater, and his girlfriend has agreed to let me knit her a sweater as well. I do actually, I've got some yarn in stash that I'm thinking about using. We'll see. But excuse me, I'm going to make her the coffee date. That's the one that she picked out. I gave her my phone and said, pick whatever you want. And if there's not one in the library, I'll show you somewhere else to go look. She liked the coffee date. It reminds me a lot of the, I'm drawing a blank on the name that Rita Dowd had done, the one that I did for Michelle. I don't know why I've just drawn a blank. I'll put the name up here, but the coffee date's not a V-neck, and it is a little bit different. It's got a similar pattern, but it is a little bit different. So I'll be doing that. Her favorite color is blue, so she picked out a blue, that she sent me a blue that she really liked, and so I've looked. We'll see if I have anything. If not, I've got some stuff I'll order. So anyway, that brings me to what I'm working on for myself. This is not a Christmas present for myself, but it is going to be a gift to myself. Look at this. I know this is a really dark yarn, and they say, oh, don't do textures, don't do all of this in dark yarns because you'll lose it. People won't be able to see it. Well, I'm just going to tell you, I don't care if you can see my cables from across the room. This is turning out to be so beautiful. This is the front. This is turning out to be so lovely. And even from away, you can tell something's going on. And then whenever you get up next to me, look at the crispness of those stitches. And I just love this color. Yes. So this is the Bookclub Raglan by Sari Nordland. And I'm knitting it using one of my cones that was in my stash that I bought at Woolly Yarn. This is just 100% merino. The colorway is called Demitas. And as you can tell, it's a really deep, rich brown. And this is the back. It is just knitting up beautifully. I have just gotten to the point. There is this, and let me move these back over because now I want to pick up the sheet. There is what she calls a cheat sheet. And it is this little sheet. And as you can see, teeny tiny little font. I mean, I have to go. I sometimes have to take my glasses off because I am nearsighted, so I have readers, but sometimes I can't see it. But it tells you for the sleeve chart what row you're supposed to be on, or what round. For the main increase, what round you're supposed to be on. And then it tells you what to do here. And it's got all different sizes. I'm knitting a size 5 in it. So it tells you if this is an even, there's no increases. Or if you're increasing front and back and doing your seed stitch increase. And it's not actually a seed stitch. It is a moss stitch. So it says SS. I sure as heck hope I wasn't doing seed stitch. It said moss stitch. Doesn't matter. I'm doing moss stitch. I ain't ripping it out even if I was supposed to be doing seed stitch. But it tells me that I'm supposed to increase in that little section. And that little section is right here. So it's where my increases are after I finished my sleeve increase. Now I'm doing increases at the moss stitch. And so I've gotten past that. And now I will be doing front and back only. And then an even row. And then a front and back and the moss. And then an even front and back only even. Then I get into where I'm doing front and back, seed stitch, or the moss stitch, then 3 front and backs only, and then add in the seed stitch, then 3 front and backs, then a seed stitch, then 3 front and backs, and then I get to split for sleeves. So I've got a bit to go before I split for sleeves. I doubt I'll have it done by next week, but this makes it look like it's not quite so many, so we'll see. But I'm very, very excited about how this is turning out. But I will tell you, there's a little bitty font. I didn't want to pull out my knit companion just for the cheat sheet because I really prefer printed patterns and I really love printed charts, and I am able to see the chart. And honestly, it is so intuitive. I don't even use the chart. I just use the chart to go, oh, where am I? Am I ready to do the 8 stitch where I do 2 4 cable thingies? Okay, yeah, I'm ready to do that. And you kind of can tell, but I do like to keep my sheet for that so I don't get messed up. I don't even look because I know that for the middle part, I am moving purl stitches from the outside to the inside, doing those in seed stitch until I get all the way down to where I only have 1 purl stitch left, and then I don't move that one. Then I, do an even, and then I start moving those inside stitches back to the outside until I get it to where I've just got the 4 knits, and then I'm doing something with those and going along. Normal, regular, everyday cable knitting. Nothing exciting, and you can kind of keep going. And then the little horseshoe is that 8 point, or that 8 stitch. There's a much smaller horseshoe than those because those are 6 for, or 8 for one thing. No, this is 8, but these are 8. But these are, I'm knitting on a size 8 versus a size 5, I think it is. So, Bookclub Raglan, not really, really exciting, but having a lot of fun with it. So, I'm going to put my not safe for the channel stitch markers on here. They say words that I'm not going to put up there, but they're my fun stitch stoppers. And speaking of stitch stoppers, I didn't get these this week. It was, I think, last week when Dana gave them to me. My friend Dana gave me the cutest little sloth stitch markers, or stitch stoppers. Aren't those adorable? She did give me a stitch marker, a couple of stitch markers, I think, and a a progress keeper as well. But these are my favorites, and especially after going and seeing sloths and baby sloths in person in Costa Rica last year. The little sloths, they're so cute. So thank you very much, Dana. And they are living on my test net. And then other things that, let's get to what I didn't acquire this week. Or actually, let's talk about Lillia Grace. So last week I shipped off I guess it was last week. She got it Friday. So last week I shipped off the dress and the blanket, and it got there on Friday, and Anna sent me a thank you, told me thank you for sending love by, in yarn form. And I did have to tell her that I wasn't going to be able to come up this year, and she completely understood. She was bummed about it, but she sent me a picture. She said, here's a picture of the potato to make your day better. And so I'll put a little, smiley face in place of her face, so you won't be able to see her face for privacy reasons, but I'll show you. And when you get things like that, it just makes my day, and they are so knit worthy. They wear the stuff I send. I can't, now we've got 4 kiddos. I can't knit like big projects for them every single year because it would just be a little bit too much. So, but about every other year, they'll be getting refreshes of like all of them getting some shirts. They don't really like to do matchy anymore, the 2 oldest ones. So probably what I will do is continue to do what I did last year, which was all of them go together. There's a theme. There was some texture theme in the dresses, and they all kind of went together. They all had ribbing, but I will do that. So maybe they'll all be a cabled top, but they won't all be the same cabled top, or they'll all be a summer shirt, but they won't all be the same summer shirt. Something along those lines. So about every other year, probably. All right. Now, speaking of baby things, a friend of mine that I grew up with, she is having her 2nd grandbaby. And this time it's going to be a little girl. Last time they had a little boy, Hudson. He's so cute. And I'll pop a little picture up here of the blanket that I actually self-drafted. And meaning that I got I had a couple of different like stitch Bibles. And I took from 2 different ones to make the pattern that I wanted. I made a tree of life, and it had diamonds around it. I'll put a picture up here. And yes, it's yellow, even though yellow. And I'm sorry, my nose is just itchy. I don't know if it's from the mohair or what. But I made the little tree of life. And it is yellow, even though yellow is my least favorite color. But I made him a blanket, and then he got a little cardigan. So little one is going to have a blanket. And I was so excited. I was going through some of my shawls that I've done that I've just not sewn in the ends and not blocked and all that, because a couple of them I think I'm going to take up to the yarn shop and say, hey, here's some shawls. If y'all want to put the knit, weave in the ends and block it, it's yours. I won't wear them, and I made them, and now, no. A couple of them I'm giving away to Shauna, and then there's one that I'm keeping just because it brings me joy. But these other ones I'm just going to take up there, and they're fair game. But when I was unpacking things, I found this. This is not self-drafted. I do have a pattern for this. But I found this baby blanket that I had made at some point. I don't know why. Probably because I had a bunch of people that were having babies at church and stuff. And I was like, I need to get ahead. And so I made this. I actually have a green one that's on the needles as well that I need to finish. And I used the Bernat. Looking over there, I've got some. It's soft baby cotton, I think is what it's called. And so here in the South, having a nice cotton baby blanket makes it to where that you can use it all year round. It is warm enough to be in the house with your heat on. The cotton is warm enough. But it's cool enough in the winter that you can continue to use it, like to cover them up if it's windy or something, and not smother them. So I'm really excited about that. I'll get the ends sewn in, and I'll get this blocked, and that will become little one's baby blanket. And then I'm going to make a dress or two. I have been going through my stash, and oh my gosh, I found so much baby yarn that I'm like, I don't need to order anything else. I can just make out of these. So I found that, so that's going to go there. And then the other thing before I get to, I did acquire a few things this week. But I want to talk about, last week I said that I was going to swatch this yarn, which is Leading Men Fiber Arts. It's Showstopper, I believe, and the colorway is No Good Deed, I believe. It's part of their Wicked collection. And then I used one of my fingerless gloves because when I what's that called? When I wound, that's what it's called. When I wound the Purl Soho tussock mohair, it got a little funky, so I couldn't find my little sleeve. So I was like, oh look, I have a little fingerless glove that I'm not going to use for a while. So I did swatch last week with these two colors together, and parts of it went really well. Parts of it I don't like as much. And I'm not sure if I don't like it because I just don't like how the base yarn has come out, or if I just don't like the lightness, because I do think I'll tell you about the rabbit hole I went. Let me start with, I swatched it, and here it is. If it was just the green, yeah, it would go really pretty, and it is nice and soft. And if I'm doing it in a sorrel, which was what I'm swatching for, it would actually be the back because it's a reverse stockinette. Now, I think I could probably make it a stockinette if I wanted to. We'll see. But anyway, this is what it looks like. I'm not convinced. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Well, I started thinking and I was like, oh, I have in my stash, I have this beautiful cone of Holzgarn Coast in sea green. This is one of the ones that might become one of the Saharan teas. But I have this, and I was like, oh, that might be really pretty together. I'm now entering the rabbit hole. So I said, let me swatch that together. And ooh, guys, look at that. Isn't that pretty? That would be a really pretty combo. So, oh. And then I was like, wait a minute. In my stash, I also have, and I did bring with me the ball. Yeah, I'm trying to find it. Oh, it's in my lap. I have, in my stash, I have 10 balls of this, which is the Holzgarn Lucia in the colorway Evergreen. I was like, ooh, look at that. Isn't that pretty? Ooh, so I swatched with that, and isn't that pretty? Oh, and it is. It's one of my favorite combos. It is so soft. I have a black sweater in this combo. Oh, so this is beautiful. I actually like this better than I like this color. Although I like them both, and I got excited because I was like, I have a whole cone of this. That is a lot of yardage. It's like 3,500 yards. I can make probably 3 sweaters out of this. So I'm like, I could make 2 different sweaters. They'd be the same base yarn, and I would love it, but they'd be 2 totally different colors. So, woo! Well, that got me to thinking, what if I swatched a darker color, a darker green with this? But I don't want to use the Lucia because it's too, it's a little thicker than regular mohair, so it's a little bit hairier, it would dominate a little bit more. Well, then I got to thinking, I think I have some dark green mohair in my stash from Woolly Yarn, and look, yes, I do. I have dark green mohair in my stash. So, rabbit hole, I'm telling you, I swatched with the darker green with the Leading Men Fiber Arts, and if you turn it over, it's this. I think I like the darker better, but both of them kind of seem a little muddy to me. So let me know what you think. Which one of these do you like better, the dark or the light? Or should I just give it up? Should I try to sell this because I'm not really totally in love with the base? I don't know. Probably should just swatch it by itself and see what I think, but we'll see. Let me know what you think. And, ooh, didn't these turn out beautiful? All right, so that's my whole rabbit hole for the week. Well, then, I do have some acquisitions. Some acquisitions that I bought, some acquisitions that were given to me, and then I'm going to show some things that I already had. So I am going to move these because I want to talk about the things that I bought first. First and foremost, Letha bought me this Project 19 from Redesign. Well, she didn't buy it for me. She ordered it for me and I bought it from her. So I guess she did buy it for me and I bought it from her. But it's the Project 19. I wanted something that I could use kind of like a purse and not have to unzip. And when I'm sitting in a doctor's office, I could even take a cone and have it sitting in here and just stick the project back down in here. And so I had picked out the Project 19. This is in the color cherry. And oh, I'm sniffing it because it smells like leather. And it is so beautiful and soft and supple. And it did come with the Redesign bag thing inside as well. You see, it's just a big old project bag. Right, there's nothing separating it. It does have some pockets in here. It's got a little thing. I'm not really sure what you would put in here. I wish it was on a lobster clasp, but it's not. It's on a little key ring. And then, like I said, I just don't know what you'd really stick in here, because if you stick money in here, it's going to fall out the side. If you stick stitch markers in here, they're going to fall out the side. So I'm not really sure what I'd use that for, but it is really cute. And like I said, it's got some pockets in here. It's got a bigger pocket here. It's got pockets where you can put your needles in. And then it's got a zipper up here where you can also put things in here. So I do very much like it. It is beautiful and I've used it. I took it to Michelle's on Saturday and I used it. Oh, it held a lot. And this is going to become my go-to purse and my go-to project bag. I am in love with this. So, woo, loving that. And I'm trying not to buy just all kinds of Redesign things, but that one was gorgeous. And then, speaking of Michelle, went up there, we knitted and crocheted and all, and we did go out to Bentonville, and we decided to stop by the yarn store in Bentonville, Yarn Alchemy. Since we were already there, I wanted to see the new colors of Knitting for Olive. Unfortunately, she didn't have all of them. I didn't get to see Peacock. I didn't get to see Turquoise. I did get to see, I think it was Bottle Green in the Pure Silk. I got to see the French Anemone in a couple of bases. I got to see the Plum in the Heavy Merino. And I think there might have been one other one. I did like some of the silks and stuff, but I wish I'd gotten to see them all. But she is moving to a larger space, so maybe she'll bring in all of the colors at that point. They're moving in June. I might go back and check it out then. But I was also very, very excited that I got to feel some of the Harrisville Design Shetland and Highland yarns, and they were just beautiful. So I was really glad to feel those in person. But I have been looking for this book. This is the Sari Nordland Softly Timeless Knits. I've been looking for this, and you can find them used, but they're about $99, and I didn't want to buy that. Of course, she had a copy of it, so I picked this up. I'm very excited. There's a bunch of different patterns in here that I want to make, and some that really surprised me, like this one here, that I don't love a coat like that, but I may wind up making that. So I picked that up. And then the things that I acquired that were given to me, I had reached out. I had bought these stitch markers, these Snag Free stitch markers last year at the Yarn Crawl when Letha had a trunk show with Twice Sheared Sheep. These are the ones where they are you're counting stitch markers, and they go from 50 to 500 by increments of 50s. I love these. I use these all the time when I'm casting on something like a bottom up or whatever that's going to be a lot of stitches. I use these because it makes life so much easier. I used to just use little bulb markers, but I love this because then I don't have to count this bulb marker. I just go through and I go, oh, that's 50, you know. And I can actually look and see at the end how many I have because it'll be 250 or whatever. I love these things. They do now have new ones that are by 20 as well. I might invest in those as well, but I really, really like these. But when I got these, I had, I think it was 2 that were 250 and no 300 or no 200, or there was something missing, and I had 2 of another one. And so I had reached out to them. They were so gracious. They sent me the new one, no problem. And I had told them that I had a YouTube channel that I just started and had asked for feedback. I was asking everybody for feedback. And so they were very gracious. They told me congratulations and all that, and said, when you grow your channel and you get bigger, reach out to us and we'd love to do an affiliate with you. So I reached out to her after I hit the 1500 mark, and I asked, and they approved me for affiliate. So there is an affiliate link again along with my Purl Soho affiliate link in the description. So if you're already ordering, feel free to use my affiliate link. I get a little kickback. It doesn't cost you anything. And just gives me a way to make a little bit of money on my hobby. And so I already had these. I had also bought this beautiful planner, and I have to tell on myself, I do not use a planner. We'll open it up. I've written nothing in here. But these Highland cows, oh my gosh, I thought I might use the planner because of these Highland cows. Look at those, aren't they cute? And they do have bags and stuff with this. I just was not fast enough to get the bags last year. All of the ladies bought the bags before I could get any of them. So Jordan did buy me some Highland cows that Letha had made for Christmas. And so I do have a bag with Highland cows, but it's not these exact Highland cows because this is the twice sheared sheep. I would bet that they had it printed for specifically for them, but they're so stinky cute little baby Highland cows. So I got that last year as well. And then this year, when I reached out to her, they sent me some things. And one of the things that they sent was the row counter here. I haven't taken it out yet, but the row counter, it's really cool because you hang it and you can use it like you can do 10 or 20 or whatever because of how it's set up. And it's got this little cute bee there, but you just hang it so you know what row you're on as you go along. And so that will make it really, really nice. I might use this on the body whenever I get there if I need to count body stitches. I'll still probably use the shorter one for sleeves because I think that it would be a little bit, sleeves are so short that I think that that might be a little bit too long, but I do really, I'm really excited to use that. And then she also sent me some of these little snag free markers in, these are they're brighter colors, but I believe that this is one of the ones that Dana sent me. And so this is a little bit lighter color, but they are beautiful and they are truly snag free. There's nothing that's going to snag on your stuff. And I love them. I can't wait to use these as well. I just have already got all the stitch markers in my projects right now, but as soon as I start a new project, I will make sure to use these. So I appreciate that a lot. And then she also sent me, and they will go in here, is this little tin. It's a little gnome tin, and it's a little tin to put my stitch markers and all that in. So that is what I got, and I appreciate a lot. I really do appreciate it whenever somebody does an affiliate with you because they are, you know, hoping that by affiliating with people and giving us a little bit of a kickback that we will get it in front of more people. So I really appreciate her sending me some things to try out. I already knew that I loved her stuff because I have some of her stuff and I use it. I have another one, and actually it may be on my Cove sweater. I meant to look earlier. Yes. So I have, there's a set that comes and it says K and D. This is another one. This one's got a little butterfly on it. I got these last year as well from the truck show, but there's also, it comes with a K and D and a K and an I. I can't find my K and I. I don't know if it's on a project that's sitting around or if it's probably on the table and it's just buried under something, but I know I'm not decreasing. I know I'm increasing. So I use this, and so I switch it out, and you can see right now I am on an increase row because it is, both of them are hanging down. And then whenever I'm just on a knit row, I pull it up and only the knit hangs there. So I know that I'm doing an even non-increase round. It makes it really easy. And if I set it down, I can always go back and check. So I don't have to read my knitting. I do know how to read my knitting. You should know how to read your knitting, but this makes it really easy. So that is it, guys. Finally, woo! Another long episode. And I'm so sorry because I'd done several that were shorter. And hopefully they will be shorter as I get some things done. But right now I just have a whole lot on my needles and a lot to talk about. And so thank y'all all for hanging out with me today and knitting with me. Drop me a line. Let me know what you think about which one of these you like better, the dark or the light. Or if you're just like, I'm not sure that'd make a great sorrel. Actually, kind of, as I'm sitting here looking at it backwards, I think I might like the lighter one better, but I don't know. I really do think that I do want to sorrel out of one of these, but let me know what you think. Let me know what you were working on and anything else, right? I'd love to see some updates. I do have the community, so feel free to go put some pictures out there, and let me see what you're working on. Let me see some updates, some pictures. I love seeing pictures. All right. As always, have a great knitty week, and I will see y'all next week.